Okay, in this video we're going to look at paraphrasing. Here's your essay structure. The first thing that you've got to do, the first thing that you've got to write is your paraphrase. You've got to look at the question and paraphrase, which means write it in a different way. So it's quite a boring video. There's nothing really fun here. This is where all of the interesting things happen. But it's very necessary. We must do it. Why? Because if you don't paraphrase, the examiner will take your marks down on vocabulary. He will bring your vocabulary score down. Now, you can't really get high marks because of your paraphrase, but you can get low marks because of your paraphrase. That's the problem. The examiner is not going to look at your paraphrase, see, oh wow, amazing paraphrase, let's give this student band 8, band 9. No. But he might look at your paraphrase and say, oh wow, that's terrible. So far, it looks like a 5. Actually, many examiners don't really read the paraphrase that much, me included. I just look at it very quickly. Why? Because the examiner wants to get to the overview. That's the important part. So what we're trying to do here is just do the paraphrase without mistakes. Don't get fancy on the paraphrase. Right, so what are we going to do? We're going to look at a couple of questions. For example, this one. These are all official IELTS questions. Please only use official material, as I've said before. There are some crazy task ones on the internet. Be careful of them. Sometimes I don't even understand them. Just use the Cambridge stuff or the IELTS stuff, please. So that's one. I've copied and pasted that one. There's another one. This is of a table. I've copied and pasted that. Here's a pie chart we're going to look at. Don't worry, you don't have to read it. I've copied and pasted it into another document. And then we'll also look at our beef, chicken, fish one that we did. Okay, so I just took those 4 and then copied and pasted them into this document. Now what I want to show you is that they all have the same structure. What do we start with? It all starts with a noun phrase, like that. They always have that. Then there's always the word below. It's actually part of this noun phrase, but I'll make it a different color. Then we have our verb. Then sometimes we have information about or data on, and sometimes we don't. And then comes the really important part, a big noun phrase for X. Remember SVX? S is the yellow, V is the blue, and X is the big noun phrase. I'll make it a different color. So what are our noun phrases? All the way up to there. Then preposition phrase of place and preposition phrase of time. Like that. Okay, I hope this doesn't look a bit confusing, a lot of colors, but I just wanted to show you it's all the same structure. They've all got the same structure. Subject, subject. Below I've ignored because below we're actually going to delete. So forget about below. Verb, 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 verb. Then we have a noun phrase. I've called it X here. Let's call it a noun phrase. Remember this, don't get confused. This is not the noun phrases that we're using in our subject. It might be, but don't confuse the two. Then preposition phrase of place. Sometimes the time is before the place, sometimes the place is before the time, but that's all you need to know. All right. So the way to paraphrase is just to paraphrase each one of these individually. The subject's easy, the verb's easy, the place is easy, the time is easy. This is the one where it's a little bit difficult to paraphrase. So you're going to start with paraphrasing this, if you can. It's not serious. This is really not a big deal. If it says the graph, you write the chart. If it says the chart, you write the graph. If it says the pie chart, you write the pie graph. If it says the pie graph, you write the pie chart. If it says the table, I don't know. I think you just write the table. You can say the box, but it's a bit informal. Really, don't worry too much about this. Just one word paraphrase. Then you delete below. Then you paraphrase the verb. For shows, use indicates. For gives, use provides. Those are the two most common ones. As we do some other task ones, maybe we will encounter some others. So if they say provides, you say gives. If they say indicates, you say shows. Then this is the big one. So I'm just going to leave this for now. Let's just look at these others. These are simple. You don't really have to. Students try so hard to paraphrase these. You don't really have to. paraphrase it that much. In a European country, in a nation in Europe. In Australia, how do you paraphrase in Australia? You don't. You just say in Australia, in New Zealand, in 5 European countries, in 5 nations in Europe. Don't waste time on this. Then the dates, again, you can't paraphrase that, but one nice way is here, for example, you would say, over a 25-year period beginning in 1979. Over a 10-year period beginning in 1990. Now, this is not a period. This is 2 separate years. Be careful of that. So you would just say, in 2 separate years. That's nice. 2003 and 2013. And the same thing over there. In 2 separate years, 1999 and 2004. Great. So let's get to this then. Now you're going to paraphrase the noun phrase. What you will notice here, if you watch the previous video, this is noun phrase what? Noun phrase 2. There, consumption, preposition, noun. What is this? This is noun phrase 1. Noun, noun. What is this? Noun phrase 2. Noun, preposition, noun. What is this? Noun phrase 2. Noun, preposition, noun. Okay, anyway, I'm going to just get rid of all of these colors. They're making me crazy. Right, so you get the idea. A lot of the time, and please, 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 I'm not saying always. We will see more difficult ones later, but this is a good 80% of the time. You will be able to see noun phrase 1 or 2 or 3 in the question, and then just change the noun phrase into another of the other 3. And then you're fine. So let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to highlight these noun phrases, make them bigger. And we're going to just look at each one individually. And what we're going to do is decide which noun phrase that is, and then make the 3 noun phrases that we're going to use in our essay. So let's take a look at this first one. What noun phrase is that? Is that noun phrase 1 or 2 or 3? Remember, noun phrase 1 is noun, noun. 2, noun, preposition, noun. And then 3 is the complicated one with the relative pronoun, the which. So what do you think? This is actually noun phrase 2. There's the noun. There's the preposition. And there's the other noun phrase. Of course, it doesn't have to be noun, it can be noun phrase. So then, that means this is noun phrase 1 is like that. There's our first noun phrase, there's the second noun phrase. It would probably be better to just delete that. Fish and meat consumption. Actually, in your essay, as we saw in the last video, we don't do them together, we just do them one by one. So that would be the noun phrase. And then, as we saw in the last essay, this was great. So then, when you're paraphrasing, all you need to do is take one of those out and put one of these in. I wouldn't use this one in your paraphrase. You want to save that for your overview. Some examiners don't really read the paraphrase so carefully, so don't waste this. This is gold. So put that one in. Right, so we're going to do all of these. If you want to pause the video, because I'll do them very quickly, pause the video and see if you can see first of all what noun phrase that is, what number, then do the other 2. So pause the video now if you want. Right, so that was obviously noun phrase 1, and that goes there. Then attendance at the cinema and the number of people who attended the cinema. So noun phrase 3, when you're often when you're dealing with people and when you're dealing with money, you need to put that word in. We will see a few examples of that. In this, we didn't put any new words in, but often when it's people and money, we put that in. And then, of course, notice it's not passive, it's active, because the people are there in the sentence. So they did this. So we use active voice, not passive. Here, the fish did not eat. The fish did not consume. Somebody else ate the fish. But here, the people attended. So it's active. Great. Pause the video if you want. Next one. That's noun phrase 2. Noun, preposition, noun. So noun phrase 1 is a bit difficult because there's so many words here, but it's fine. We just do the exact system. Noun phrase 3. This one is a very difficult one. Sometimes noun phrase 3 can be very difficult. You've got to think about it. We needed to put this verb in because you make a sale. You could try and change the sales into a verb. The amount of products which were sold in the retail sector, the amount of online products. So this is a good example of how this system doesn't always work. You've got to think about it a bit. Be careful. But with practice you will get it. Alright, let's do the last one. Again, that was noun phrase 2. Noun, preposition, noun phrase. So this becomes, I want to point out something very important. See, there's an S over here. There's no S over there. Because this is like an adjective, really. It's doing the job of an adjective. It's describing this. So drop that S. Same thing over here. Sectors. If it goes in the place of an adjective, you drop the S. Please notice that. And then this last one is, so even though we're using sales and sold, it can be a bit different. We could have used sold in there. So don't worry too much about how difficult these are. You do need practice with noun phrase 3 to get it right. But the same kinds of things come up again and again, especially sales and people and money and that sort of thing, and you will learn how to deal with it. So there you have your 3 noun phrases, and then when you're paraphrasing, you just take that out and you probably put noun phrase 1 in there. And this shows you how the paraphrase part is actually very important, not because of the paraphrase itself, but because you prepare your noun phrases during that paraphrase section, and that sets you up for the rest of the essay, and it helps you a lot for the rest of the essay, makes it clear in your head what your noun phrases are. Okay, so let's actually do the paraphrase. This first one is the graph we change to the chart. Below we delete. Shows, indicates. I forgot to say, they use information about and data on with gives. Shouldn't really use it with shows, but if you do, it's fine. So let's just skip it for this. Then we had noun phrase 2 over here, so we're just going to use noun phrase 1. In a European country, in a country in Europe, between that and that, let's say over a 25-year period starting in 1979. With this, don't put years. This is acting like an adjective, so it doesn't have an S, and then also remember to put the dash. Great, and there's your paraphrase. So if you can get, after just a couple of minutes, you will have your paraphrase written and you will have your 3 noun phrases ready. That means you're in a good position for the rest of the essay. Alright, let's quickly do the last ones. Pause the video, I'm not going to go through it, I'll just show you what it is. Okay, the chart, the graph provides, gives data on, information about. Noun phrase 1 becomes noun phrase 2. In Australia between 1990 and 2010. Okay, let's do this. Right, that's better. Alright, then just one thing I want to say. If you can think of a nice synonym, put it in. What's a synonym for cinema? Movies. So that's great. And then this we can't paraphrase, but remember some countries you can, particularly the UK. If they say the UK, then you write Great Britain. If they say Great Britain, you write the UK. Or the United Kingdom is better. But Australia, you can't paraphrase. Alright, next one. Great, quite straightforward, except this is different. This is not over a period. These are 2 separate years. So it's just nice to say in 2 separate years. Then we can think of a nice synonym for online. Just say internet. And that's fine. Very nice. And the final one. And there you go. I've said the 2 tables just to add a little bit, something a bit different. Noun phrase 2 became noun phrase 1. I switched these around. I said the countries first. I changed countries to nations in 2 separate years. If there are 2 or 3 countries and you can see their names. So it's France and Germany and Italy, for example. That's okay, write them. But if there are 5, it's too many to write, so don't write them all. Alright, and that is pretty much all you need to know about Paraphrase.